Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV. Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa filling in for Jess. And let's get in some front page news. Now, tonight in NFL, before we jump into the news, the Giants take on the Cowboys at 8:15. And WNBA playoffs. The Sun beat the Fever last night, 87-81. And the Lynx beat the Mercury, 101-88.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark is now out of the WNBA playoffs. I wonder if ratings are going to go down because of that. Because I'm
Asia Wilson's
I'm an
still busting
Aces
ass.
fan. That's what I'm saying. I'm an Aces fan because I'm an Asia Wilson fan.
And
South
Liberty's still
Carolina
doing
all
well.
day.
Yeah.
They played. That's the next round.
Yeah,
Liberty versus Ace.
Yeah, people will watch that. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning. Good morning. Is it a good morning in New York? We'll start with breaking news out of New York for your front
Why
page.
wouldn't it be? We not indicted.
I'm at work. Hey, well, let's get into it. Somebody's black job is, being threatened. Anyways, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, he is being indicted on federal criminal charges. We don't know what the specific charges are, but the indictment is expected to be unsealed by U.S. attorneys later today. Now, the charges are reportedly connected to money from the Turkish government that got into the 2021 Adams campaign. Now, let's hear from Mayor Adams. He responded to the indictment. Let's hear that audio from him.
These charges will be entirely false, based on lies. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target. And a target I became.
Adams.
If it's illegal contributions from Turkey or any other foreign country, they'll be able to trace that.
They'll be able to trace that easy. They'll just follow the money, which shouldn't be that hard to find, especially if he did it for his campaign. So they'll definitely be able to see that easily.
The feds don't come if they don't think they got something going on.
Oh, no, they usually got something going on if they already came. Adams is now the first sitting mayor in city history to be charged with a crime while in office. Now, he is claiming innocence and intends to fight the charges. A word of this federal indictment has, of course, spread rapid fire. So it has spread in a post on X. AOC New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she noted the numerous investigations surrounding city officials. She says she does not see how Adams can continue to govern, adding the flood of resignations and vacancies that are threatening government function. And she's calling for him to step down. She and other elected officials are calling for him to step down. In a statement, we heard Adam's statement, but basically, so we will continue to see what happened with that. I also noted that in recent, I didn't want to speculate, but basically last week the health commissioner resigned, and then days later the school's chancellor resigned. So again, that's usually a sign of a bigger issue.
Yeah, people want him to resign, but he said he's not going to resign. I mean, I think the governor has power to actually take him out if she wanted to. But we'll see what happens. I mean, he's supposed to turn himself in next week.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like charges stop people from running or being in office nowadays. Case in point, Donald Trump. So I mean, I don't know if he should have to resign and step down or not. I don't know.
Especially if he feels like he's innocent.
And he's innocent until proven guilty.
That's right. Yeah,
that is very true. And I also will say, when Mayor Adams was here last time, he said that, and this is his words, he said that there's an attack on black mayors all across the country. When I look at him getting indicted, when I look at Marty Smalls in Atlantic City getting indicted, I can't help but wonder if there is something to that. I'm just saying.
There's a couple other cities he was talking about too. So yeah,
he named a few other cities.
Now, Governor Hochul did say that she was aware of the situation, but she has not said anything else regarding that. So switching gears, meanwhile, the House and the Senate have passed a 3-month funding extension that prevents the government shutdown. Yay. The bill would keep the government funded until December 20th. House Republican leaders relied heavily on Democratic votes to approve the measure. It will not include new voter registration requirements that former President Trump and other Republicans had called for any spending bill to include. And President Biden is expected to quickly sign that into law. Speaking of President Biden, he said he would have been reelected if he remained in the race. And he made those comments on during an interview on Wednesday with The View on ABC. Let's run that audio if we can.
I was confident I would beat Trump. He's a loser. I never fully believed the assertions that somehow there was this overwhelming reluctance of my running again. I didn't sense that.
He's delusional.
So yo, I was just about to say, y'all be saying I'm delusional, but I think maybe it's a Delaware thing.
It's definitely a Delaware thing.
I'll take that one, because even I know that, and I don't even know no poll numbers, no nothing.
Well, it's the problem is everybody around him, and probably listening to certain media personalities say things like, "I'll vote for him if he was a corpse." I'd vote for him if he was dead. That's insanity.
Yeah,
right there. Like, I don't think that President Biden had no chance in November if he'd have stayed in the race.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said he's at peace with the decision, and that's pretty much that. We can go ahead and wrap that up. But in the next hour, we will talk VP Harris, where she's at on the campaign trail, and of course where Trump is at on the campaign trail, and we're on hurricane watch as well. So we'll talk about that at 7.
All right, thank you. Everybody else, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open again. 800-585-1051. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Laura LaRosa filling in for Jess. Let's get in some front page news, some quick sports. Tonight, the Giants take on the Cowboys at 8:15. In WNBA playoffs, the Sun beat the Fever 87-81, and the Lynx beat the Mercury 101-88. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's get into it. So Vice President Kamala Harris, she says her economic plan will build the middle class if she becomes president. She spoke about her plan for the economy at a campaign event in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Wednesday. Let's jump right into those comments from the VP in Pittsburgh.
I intend to chart a new way forward and grow America's middle class. Donald Trump intends to take America backward. He has no intention to grow our middle class. He's only interested in making life better for himself and people like himself.
She's been saying this for months, though. She's been talking about her plan to rebuild the middle class for months. I mean, that's one of the reasons that, I have no problem getting behind her and supporting her because of what she wants to do with the middle class, giving everybody the opportunity to own a home, everybody the opportunity to own a small business. I think that's great.
So she compared her plan to that of former President Trump, saying for him, the economy works best if it works best for those who own big skyscrapers, not for people who build them. This marked the vice president's 8th visit to the battleground state. It's often being said that whoever wins Pennsylvania will win the election. She also sat down for an exclusive interview with MSNBC, where she doubled down on those comments about Trump making false promises, adding that he left the economy worse than in a worse state since the Great Depression, and said top economists in the U.S. have compared each candidate's plan, saying hers would grow the economy while Trump's would shrink it. Now, Harris is set to visit Arizona, another key swing state, on Friday, while Trump has identified increased oil drilling and tariffs on autos made outside the U.S. as his cornerstones for his economic plan. Now, speaking of Donald Trump, he said the U.S. should warn Iran about threatening politicians. Now, he made the comments while speaking in Mint Hill, North Carolina yesterday, adding he was briefed by intelligence officials about ongoing Iranian threats to assassinate him. Let's hear those comments from Trump on the threat from Iran.
You do any attacks on former presidents or candidates for president, your country gets blown to smithereens, as we say. We are under threat. I have been threatened very directly, and I appreciate the agencies that we've been meeting with, but we've been threatened very directly by Iran. 4 years ago, our country was feared and respected, and our country will soon be feared and respected again. We have to have that.
I'll say this, I'm not going to downplay the threats from Iran because I simply don't know, but those people who have been shooting at Trump, they haven't been from Iran, but I haven't seen Trump demonize white men not once. You know what I mean? Like, not once.
Yeah, interesting fact. Yeah.
And I want to say something else you brought up too, Morgan. The interview that the vice president did with Stephanie Rule on MSNBC, I think that's been her best conversation that we've seen her have since she's been announced as the Democratic nominee.
Yeah, regarding that interview, she actually talked about further. She talked about how picking Tim Walz as her running mate was a gut decision. So I think that humanized her, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just like the way Stephanie Rule was. I liked a lot of her follow-up questions. Like, when the vice president brought up her talking points about Donald Trump ruining the economy, and Stephanie pushed back. It was like, well, it was a dramatic downturn because of the pandemic. And so the vice president she had to explain it even further and talk about how even before the pandemic, he lost manufacturing jobs and, you know, he has tax cuts for billionaires and the top corporations in our country. I just thought it was a really good conversation. I thought Stephanie Rowe did a great job.
Speaking of Trump, you know, back on the topic of Trump and this whole Iranian threat, he said that the sitting president needs to be firm with Iran and any other country that makes those type of threats towards U.S. politicians. Now, he added that if he were president again, the world would fear the U.S. And speaking of what's going on here on the home front, we are on hurricane watch right now. Many in the South are bracing for Hurricane Helene. Forecasters say Helene is expected to make landfall in Florida later today. The storm is expected to bring life-threatening storm surge, damaging winds, and floods to much of the southeastern U.S. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he has more insight on the storm. Let's hear from him.
It is a fast-moving storm. It's projected to leave up to 12 inches of rainfall, and the storm surge could reach 10 to 15 feet in some areas. The impacts are going to be far beyond the eye of the storm. You're looking at winds that are stretching 200 plus miles away from the eye of the storm. This thing's going to be whipping through. It's going to cause a lot of churn, and it is going to drive that water. And so it is going to be a significant water event.
So Helene does remain right now a Category 1 hurricane with maximum sustained winds around 90 miles per hour. Landfall, again, is expected later tonight with winds that could reach up to 130 miles per hour. They're also projecting that it could build to a Category 3 hurricane as it intensifies over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Meanwhile, Tampa International Airport, if you're traveling to Tampa, the airport is closed as of 2 a.m. this morning and will reopen when it is safe to do so. So if you are traveling on the East Coast towards the South, leaving from the South, just go ahead and, you know, check ahead if you are traveling, whether that be, you know, whatever mode of transportation you're taking, just definitely plan ahead. And for those who are in the South, you know, we're wishing you guys well and hope that you will be okay in this weather event.
Yeah, they were saying that Atlanta's going to get 9 to 11 inches. So they're saying there's going to be major floods and heavy winds. So just be safe out there.
Yes, absolutely. So that's your front page news. I'm Morgan Wood. You can follow me on social at Morgan Media, MorgynMedia. And for more news coverage, we've got you covered at Black Information Network. Download that free iHeartRadio app, BINnews.com. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Wake that ass up. Early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.